Welcome to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. I'm your host, Poppy Lee, and this is the space for midlife women who are tired of feeling overwhelmed and ready for life to feel lighter, calmer, and more joyful again. Each week, we'll talk about simple habits, mindset resets, and easy tools that help you feel more in control, one small step at a time. If you're ready for peace, clarity, and your comeback season, you're in the right place. Let's make life, well, easy peasy. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. I'm #Poppy Lee, and I'm super excited to have you on here today. Happy Taco Tuesday. I'm coming from a little town called Dripping Springs outside of West Austin. If you continue west, you're going to hit Johnson City. And if you continue west further, you're going to hit Fredericksburg, Texas, the home of over 200 wineries and breweries in the local area. And if you're a fellow wine drinker like I am, cheers to wine and cheers to good coffee. And wherever you're listening from today, driving, folding laundry, walking the dog or in the bathroom, pretending you're busy, I got you today. Before we start, let's take a breath with me. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, take a deep breath in, and take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in, and take a deep breath out. Because today's episode is meant to feel like a bridge, not a push. So today's episode, on episode 22, it is called You're Not Behind, You're Just Carrying What Was Never Meant to Be Yours Alone. So welcome. Make sure you stay with me till the end, because this episode gently closes one chapter we've been in for a while, systems and support, and opens the door to what comes next, which is trusting yourself again. So welcome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so before we go any further, let me ground you the way I always do. So my mission statement is I will empower women. That's not my mission statement. Sorry. My motto of the day is each day you have a choice whether to be happy or sad. It's up to you to find the positivity in life, and I hope that I inspire you every single day to do that when you start off your day. If you know someone who could benefit from listening, please share this podcast so you can brighten up their day as well. So welcome. Why this matters, I cannot talk today. I think I need more coffee. Why this episode matters right now is my mission statement is I will empower women in their midlife to recognize their inner and outer beauty, fostering personal growth and self-confidence every day of their life. So welcome. Today, I want to talk about something that sneaks up on women very, very, that feeling of being behind. Okay? That sneaks up on us. All of a sudden, we're like, oh my gosh, we're not ahead. We're actually behind. Not behind because you're failing, but because you're tired. Come here, love. Not because you're failing, but because you are tired. Behind because you're carrying so much in your life. And behind because you're doing life without enough support. And here's the truth that we don't say often. Most women who feel behind are not behind at all. They are overloaded. So here's a little humor, because this is real life, and without laughter and being humorous every single day, we probably would be down all the time, right? Let's laugh for a second, because if we don't, like I said, we're going to cry. You're not just behind. You're just answering texts in your head instead of out loud. You're walking into rooms and forgetting why you were there. Raise your hand in the comments if that's you. I walked into a room and I forgot why the heck I went into the room. That's me. Opening your phone to check one thing and ending up on Amazon, purchasing two things you probably didn't need in the first place. Making a to-do list and then losing it. Where is my to-do list? Googling something, then Googling and Google the answer, then Googling that answer, right? Because you're like, why did you tell me to do something? And then you're Googling the answer to what you had Googled the answer for, right? You're like, I wonder why it said that. And then I wonder why it said that. It's like your kids when they were little. Why, mama? Why? And then you're like, well, just because we wanted to go over there to the other place. Well, why? We wanted to go to the other place because we needed to go. Why? Right? That's like you on Google every day. Why Google? Why? That's not a character flaw. That's cognitive overload. So what this week has been about, systems and support, right? This week has been about systems and support. This entire week we've been talking about that. Not as something rigid, not as a hustle, but as relief for you and I. So we're not overwhelmed to do everything on our own. Because systems don't replace you. They actually support you and protect you. They answer questions before your brain has to. They close mental loops in your mind. They reduce decision fatigue, so you don't always have to be coming up with the answer on your own. And research shows that when mental load is reduced, consistency increases. Listen to that. When mental load is decreased, consistency, not because you're trying harder, but because life finally feels manageable. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. So in Jen Sincero's book, How to Be a Badass, why struggling isn't a requirement. This is what she says. And she fits it so beautifully. Jen talks openly about how we glamorize struggle as if doing things the hard way makes us more deserving. One of her most freeing reminders is you don't get extra credit for suffering. And yet, how many of us have been living like we do? Like the more I struggle through this, the more I'm going to get credit, right? The more I'm going to look better, the more I'm going to seem more valued, the more I'm going to seem more worthy of others' attention. Come on. She's in the cabinet. Collecting invisible struggle points, wearing exhaustion like a badge, thinking ease means we're cheating. It doesn't. Ease often means alignment. So your body is recalibrating, right? You're like this in midlife, and your body is starting to go like this, starting to kind of recalibrate. The shift that's happening, and here's your transition moment. Here's what I want you to notice. When systems and support enter your life, something subtle starts to change. When you see clarity through a support system and you delegating chores and stuff like I told you about, things start changing in your life. And something subtle starts to change. You stop guessing. You stop scrambling. You stop proving to yourself that struggle means strength in your life. And that's where we're headed next. Because support isn't the end goal. It's the foundation. And once the foundation is stable, confidence in your life will finally start growing for you. So here's some real life and why support comes before confidence comes. So here's something. Why support comes before confidence. So this is important. A lot of women think confidence comes first. You develop confidence, and then all of a sudden, a lot of women think confidence comes first before everything else. I'll trust myself once I feel confident. So all of a sudden, your confidence is going to come when you trust yourself. I'll show up once I stop doubting myself. I'll speak up when I feel ready. So when I get everything ready to go perfectly, then I'll start. How many of y'all said when you were younger, I'll get pregnant when I'm ready? Raise your hand in the comments. I'll get pregnant when I'm ready. I'll get married when I'm ready. You guys, let me give you a little hint. You're going to get pregnant when God wants you to get pregnant. You're never ready to have a baby, just so you know it. Because you're not going to be the ever perfect mom or dad that you think you're going to be. Because that, I will tell you, because I did it twice, that is a learning process. And you're not going to be ready when it happens. You're like, I'll be ready when I want to have labor pains. When my body can handle labor pains, that's when I'll be ready to have a baby. Let me tell you something. That baby's coming, whether you like it or not. And you're going to have labor pains. That's just the way God makes us, right? And you have to learn as you go. Same thing with marriage. I'll get married when I'm ready. You're never ready for marriage. You're not. Because those are one of the things that you have to learn as you go. And you're going to make mistakes. So you trusting yourself, you starting a podcast or starting a business when you're ready, that's not going to happen, y'all. That's not going to happen, because part of the value of the trust that you give yourself and the confidence is going through the trials and the tribulations of doing the things that you want to do and doing them badly first. You're like, I'll get the real good job. I'll get a real good job when I want to get a real good job. And when I'm ready. You're never going to be ready. I didn't say I'm going to get this job teaching because I'm the perfect candidate and I know exactly what to do. And when I'm ready, I'm going to do it. No, I took the plunge and I was like, if God wants me to have this job, I'm going to get this job. And I got it, and I made so many mistakes. I had so many victories too, though. And I think that's one thing that we do in our lives a lot of times is we beat ourselves up for the things that we do wrong, but we don't give ourselves enough credit for the things that you do right. Your recognition and your happiness and your confidence is not just based on the struggles. It's based on the things that you do right. I think we, especially midlife women, we don't give ourselves enough clarity, and we don't give ourselves enough confidence in our life. We don't do that in our lives to where it helps us surpass and look over the things that we do wrong. So I think what happens is we beat ourselves up so much for the things that we do wrong, and we don't give ourselves a pat on the back or so much credit for the things that we do right. Because if we did that more, we didn't be focusing so many on the mistakes that we make. Confidence grows when you're supported. You're not constantly guessing, your energy is protected, and your mind isn't overloaded. So Jennifer Sincero says this so clearly. Confidence is built through action, not waiting. Like I said, I have to clean this. Hold on just a second. This is bugging me. Sorry. For some reason, this feels like it's fuzzy. Okay. Sorry. You know how you just go through one of those things and you're like, oh, okay, that's better. I feel like it was so fuzzy. You want me to hold you again? So, confidence is built through action, not waiting, like I had just said, right? You have to take action whether you're ready or not, whether it's a job, a side gig, whether you want to volunteer at a local library or at a hospital, whether you want your child to start soccer practice or to join a chess club. You have to let them do it, just like you have to let yourself do it so they can gain confidence. I've said several times in podcasts in the past, like there's so many times when we want to protect our kids, right? Or even our grandkids. Like we want to protect them from making mistakes. But no matter how many times we tell them things, sometimes they're just not going to listen. It's like us. Remember when you were younger, did you always listen to your parents? No. But I'm just saying, even in your 20s and 30s, and even maybe yesterday, when somebody told you something was probably not a good idea, or you probably shouldn't have done this, and you did it anyway. Because there's some part of us that just has to learn by our own mistakes. But that's how we learn, and that's how we get better, and that's how we get experience in things. And systems make action safer. So when you have something in place, if you have a system in place or something you can rely on, a system can be you having a journal next to your bed. And at night, you write down the things that you're thankful for. And in the morning, you look at those things you're thankful for and remind yourself during the day to be grateful for the things that you have. You can also write down your goals. That is a system. You having a journal and you journaling is a system in your life. Why? Because that keeps things in check in one place. So you don't have to keep overwhelmed in your mind to remind yourself of those things. When you're in a good mood and you're not super happy or whatever, sometimes you forget to appreciate the things that you have. So when you go back at night before you go to bed and you look at that journal, it's a system that reminds you to appreciate the things that you've done and the things that you have. And if it has your goals, it'll also give you a system to remind yourself of the things you're working toward. Everything in your life, if it's somewhat organized and you do something to help you do something else, it's a system for you. So business is where this shows up really fast. Think about it. So my husband has, we have a decorative concrete business. If my husband didn't have, we have a bookkeeper that keeps track of all our expenses and categorizes them. If we didn't have her, because I don't know how to do that on QuickBooks, if we didn't have her and that system that she uses to help categorize things for our CPA at the end of the year, we go crazy. My husband would go nuts. And at the end of the year, we'd be having to come up with all these receipts and do everything else. And talk about overwhelm. It's insane. Like, that's why the world and you and I have followed through and looked into all these systems and created systems in our life. A system, I have Yorkies. I feed them in the morning and I feed them toward the evening. And I have a system to where I crush their food, and then I add pet moringa balance, and I add super gravy, and sometimes I add raw goat's milk. And I add these things, and then I give them their food. That's a system. If I didn't have a system, they may not be as healthy, right? Same thing with us. There may be a certain way we eat. If you just go out, perfect example. If you just go out and every day you go to work and you go like, let me go to McDonald's, or let me go to P. Terry's, or let me go to this, that, how's your health going to suffer? It's going to suffer a lot. It's going to suffer with lack of energy, lack of focus. Your stomach may hurt. You feel nauseous, all this other stuff. But if you have a system, and my husband and I talked about it yesterday, if you have a system to where on Sundays, you plan for your week, or you do meal preps, or like my husband and I are going to start making all our meats on Sunday. We're going to make turkey and we're going to make chicken. Why? Because I can make chicken salad during the week. There are certain things that you can do. That's a system. If you don't have a system on Sunday to create your meals or whatever, then what are you going to do during the week? It's going to be chaotic for you. Why? Because I will tell you, you are what you eat. And if you keep on eating McDonald's and all this other crap during the week, your body's going to suffer. You have a more tendency, your gut health, you have your 90% of your immune system is in your gut. So your gut health is going to suffer. Then you have a chance of getting sick, especially during these times. It's difficult right now. People are getting sick. You know, you have to have systems in place. So this becomes especially obvious in business, like I said, with me and my husband, especially if you're in direct sales or you have a side gig or you have a side business, because business adds content decisions, follow-up conversations, product explanations, consistency pressure. Trying to do all of that without support will shake anyone's confidence. Confusion drains confidence, and guessing drains energy. And energy turns loss into self-doubt. So if you exert all your energy in the things that you can't control, then it brings a lack of confidence. It brings self-doubt into your life when you don't have these in place. So here's something that I created. It's called the easypeasyprompts.com/AI support. Not to give you scripts, not to pressure you, but to remove guesswork in your life and have another support system for you. Inside, you'll find AI guided tools that support content creation, follow-up conversations, customer retention, and product education. Think of it as Google, but on steroids. And way more encouraging. Support doesn't make you dependent. It makes you available to your confidence, creativity, and your actual voice. So here's the bridge from support to self-trust. This is where we're gently turning the corner. Support gives you space. It gives you clarity. Support gives you space. Space gives you clarity, and clarity gives you trust. And trust is where we're stepping into next. Not loud confidence, not performative, fake confidence. That's not what we're talking about. But the quiet confidence that says, I can handle this. I can do this. I trust myself. I trust my voice. I trust my thoughts. I don't need to explain myself, because when you're confident and you trust yourself, a lot of times, how many times are you talking to your friends and before you say something or give your opinion, you preface it with, well, I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me, or based on my experience. But so you make an excuse or you explain yourself before you express your opinion. That's lack of self-confidence. Because if you were confident, you would say, well, I think you need to do this. Or based on my experience, this is the way I think you need to handle this, because you're confident. So here's some questions that you can carry on into next week. As we move forward, I want you to sit with a couple of things here. Where has support already made me feel lighter? So drop in the comments, what kind of support systems do you have in place in your life? Like I told you, journaling at night, appreciation journal. You can do, like for our business, we do QuickBooks. Like you may do meal prep. All those are systems. What kind of systems do you have in place in your life that you can think about that make your life just a little bit lighter and take the pressure off of you? What feels easier now than it did before because you implemented these systems? Where am I starting to trust myself again? Or drop it in the comments. What kind of system, based on what I've talked about with you today, what is one system that you can incorporate into your life that would make your life feel a little bit easier, less pressure? What would I do differently if I stopped doubting myself? So in your life, what would you start doing a little bit differently? Would you get that job you really wanted? Would you start that side hustle? If you just all of a sudden you weren't totally prepared for it, but if you stopped doubting yourself, you'd be like, I'll do it. I'm going to make mistakes along the way, and that's okay. But in the process, I'm going to do what I want to do. These aren't questions, and these questions aren't pressure for you. They're preparation. So let me say this gently. If you've ever behind lately, it doesn't mean you've missed your moment. It means you've been carrying things that were never meant to be carried alone for you. If you doubted yourself, it doesn't mean you lack confidence. It means you've been tired of doing the same thing all the time, the same way. And if you're just now starting to breathe again, that's not weakness. That's healing. Support didn't make you less capable. It made you steady. And steadiness is where your confidence begins. So as we move forward into what's next, I don't want you asking, what's wrong with me? I don't want you asking yourself that. I want you asking, what finally feels right? Thank you truly for being here on episode 22 of the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. I love you. I appreciate you. And I hope this episode helped you close one chapter and gently opened another one in your life. If this episode made you laugh, feel seen, or breathe a little bit easier, please share it with someone who needs that reminder too. I love you. Keep it easy peasy. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Easy Peasy Life Podcast. If today's episode encouraged you, make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss one. Don't forget to grab your free guide at easypeasyprompts.com/busywomen's-guide. It's perfect for busy women who want life to feel easier. And join me live every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'll see you on the next episode. Let's go.